Hey everyone, and welcome to another DK video. In today's video, I'll be going over Sub Frost RMP versus Windwalker DK. In this guide, I'll go over how to play against this matchup and what your setups will look like. RMP is one of the most popular comps in the game, and has a lot of CC and burst setups to kill. When facing RMP, it's important to stop their setups as much as you can while still doing yours to create pressure. Before we start, there are a couple of important talents that will help you in this matchup. You should spec into Clawing Shadows, since it will be hard to hit the mage and Clawing Shadows allows you to deal damage from ranged. Second is Trinket instead of Relentless, since you will most likely have to Trinket and use a defensive cooldown when your healer is in CC. Third is Anti-Magic Zone, which will help you counter their cooldowns, for example Icy Veins or Shadow Blades. RMP is one of the strongest openers of any comp. They will look to sap one target, root or sheep the other target, and open on their kill target with a stun. The best way to avoid the opener is to send your pet in as an Unholy Death Knight to get combat, and this prevents the rogue from sapping anyone since everyone on your team is in combat. You can also try to find the rogue or mage with Death and Decay, which will put them in combat and break their stealth. In this clip, the game just started and the RMP will look for their opener. My monk gets sapped, but I find the rogue with Death and Decay before he gets to my priest. This way the rogue can't land the sap on my healer and we prevent their opener. After preventing the opener, your team can go offensive and start forcing cooldowns. A big part of winning versus an RMP matchup is shutting down their setup while doing yours instead. For example, when your healer is in CC and the mage is casting sheep, your team can go offensive on this and stun the mage to shut down their setup. Meanwhile, you do a setup of your own and force cooldowns from the enemy team. In this clip, my healer is sitting a kidney shot. The mage is casting a Ring of Frost to follow up with CC, and instead my monk stuns the mage and the rogue and we do a setup on the mage. Both the rogue and the mage use their trinket in this setup and we stop the enemy team from doing their setup. In this clip, my healer is sitting in a stun. The priest is moving towards him for a fear. I grip the priest away from my healer, and the rogue cheap shots my healer. But since I grip the priest away, he won't be able to land his spear out of the cheap shot and we can go offensive again. And in this clip, my healer is blinded and my monk gets stunned by the kidney shot. The mage starts casting Evanbolt, so I use my Wraith Walk to connect to him quickly, so I can interrupt it before he lands it on my monk. By countering their setups and going offensive, your team can force cooldowns while the RMP is pushed in. This tactic works great against RMP since they rely on their setups to deal damage, and if you shut down their setup while doing yours instead, the mage will eventually die. To beat an RMP matchup, your team will have to rotate cooldowns and setups to survive. As a DK in this matchup, you should try and read the situation as much as you can. For example, if your healer is CC'd and you're low on health, this means their next setup will be on you, so try to use a cooldown, for example AMS, before getting stunned. Communicate with your partners on who has cooldowns available to predict who the next setup will be on. In this clip, I get stunned and the rogue uses his smoke bomb. My healer calls that he will use his power word barrier so I can save my trinket and sit through the smoke bomb. I get mind controlled after the smoke bomb, and my monk rolls over to paralyze the priest. My healer can then top me after, and we only have to use a minor cooldown in the smoke bomb. In this clip, both my healer and monk are in CC. I get cheap shot, and the mage drops his frozen orb on me. I use my AMS before I get restunned to stay high on health, and my priest gets feared, but since I have AMS up, he can sit the fear while my health stays high. In this clip, I get stunned, and the mage drops his frozen orb on me and pops his icy veins. When my health starts dropping, I drop my anti-magic zone to counter icy veins. My healer gets a DR sheep, followed up by a fear, but my health stays stable since I can sit in the anti-magic zone while icy veins is up. In this matchup, you can use your anti-magic zone to counter the icy veins from the mage since they're both on the same cooldown. If you can save your anti-magic zone for when the mage uses his icy veins, his cooldowns are basically wasted and your team can stay offensive. The tactic against this matchup is to sit on the mage and counter as many setups as you can. This not only keeps your team safe, but it will be easy to force cooldowns when the RMP is caught off guard and pushed in. The priest will also spend a lot of mana during the game, so if you survive long enough, the priest will be out of mana if you don't manage to score a kill before that. If the priest is playing with Vim and Vigor, try and cleave it off while doing a setup. You can grip the priest into the DPS and stun the whole team, for example. This way you can cleave them down and get rid of Vim and Vigor while keeping pressure up on the mage. In this clip, I grip in the priest and my monk lands a leg sweep on the whole team. The priest starts casting Shadow Band after, so I use my pet to kick him. My monk follows up with a paralysis on the priest, and we force an ice block from the mage. In this clip, I grip the priest on top of the mage, and my monk lands a double leg sweep. The priest uses his pain suppression on the mage, and my monk follows up with a Fist of Fury stun on both targets. The mage drops low and uses his second ice block. And finally in this clip, the mage is moving in for CC and starts casting Polymorph. I use my pet kick on the mage to interrupt the cast and to root him so my monk can connect, and my monk then lands a paralysis on the priest and a Fist of Fury stun on the mage, and the mage dies in this setup. By playing defensive and sitting on the mage, you can stop their setups and eventually kill the mage once you've gone through their cooldowns. Clawing Shadows helps a lot in this matchup since it allows you to still do damage on the mage even when he blinks away from you. That's going to be it for this video guys. Please leave a plus skill if you enjoyed it and let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.